to an all-new layered Omni. Allow me to lay it on you. So yeah, every now and then I make a video that pisses off at least half of the gaming community, specifically the Smash community. This video will more than likely join the ranks of said videos because I have a lot of harsh opinions that I'm going to drop that will most likely offend most of you watching this video right now. If it doesn't, that's great. But as a disclaimer, if you don't want to be offended, I'd urge you to click out of this video right now and just walk away and, I don't know, go masturbate or something. Alright, let's have a chat. The topic of the video is Hungrybox killing Melee. A question that I've seen come up over and over and over again throughout the years of Melee. For those of you who aren't in the know, this question might not make a lot of sense without any context, so before I answer, let me just quickly explain to you why this is even a question in the first place, okay? If you're not familiar with the competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee scene, Hungrybox is currently, as of November 2018, the best player in the world, undisputed. What makes him unique is that he uses a character that is severely underrepresented by the rest of the top players in the world, Jigglypuff. What makes Jigglypuff so unique is that her character design is unlike any of the other top tiers in the game that are more frequently used. This uniqueness, however, is not seen in a positive light. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Unlike most of the top tier characters like Fox, Falco, Marth, Captain Falcon, etc., who excels with the usage of high DPS and quick ground movements, Jigglypuff primarily floats in the air and whacks people around like a balloon with a big ass stick attached to it, and that stick is her back aerial move, which is one of the strongest aerial moves in the game due to its size, speed, and disjoint. Anyway, because of her unique design, the most efficient way to play her is in a way that is unlike any of the other top tiers, and that playstyle has been generally deemed as boring, lame, and unentertaining. And yeah, now you understand, that's all you really need to know. The best player in the world means a character who constantly wins tournaments and is seen in nearly every top 8 at any national event. As a competitive player, many people don't respect Hungrybox or Jigglypuff mains because she isn't seen as tech heavy as, like, say, a space animal like Fox or Falco. And as a spectator, many people do not like to see Hungrybox or Jigglypuff mains because she has been deemed as not fun to watch by the general public. With that being the case, many people complain that Hungrybox's presence is killing all viewership and ruining the integrity of the game and all this other bullshit, but that finally brings us back to the main topic at hand. Is Hungrybox killing Melee? Short answer, no. Slightly longer answer, bitch, what the fuck? No, one person cannot kill off an entire, what are you on drugs? First of all, I'm just gonna say this right now. Anyone who claims that Hungrybox is killing Melee is a scrub of the highest level, period. And don't confuse being a scrub with being a top level player, okay? Because there are plenty of top players with scrub-like mentalities. You can be both. I won't say any names because I'm not trying to start any drama or anything like. It's Leffen. It's Leffen. So okay, if Hungrybox isn't killing Melee, then what is going on? Well, there are several things all playing out at the same time, and I'll list them out for you right now. First of all, there's this new generation of Melee players who have been brainwashed with the concept of 20XX. 20XX is essentially the metagame where everyone now has the tools to expand their tech skill to crazy levels of good thanks to people like Dan Salvato and Uncle Punch creating mods of Melee that allow players to efficiently learn difficult tech skill and also apply stronger character matchup techniques. It's basically like a super level up pod that wasn't, you know, available back in the day, 2005, 2010 now. These tools birthed this era of like younger Melee players with insanely good tech skill, but also they usually have like underdeveloped neutral games, which is learned through peer experience, so there's that. Anyway, this generation kind of just feeds on this high DPS, speed, efficiency, quickness, fastness, etc. Everything is frame perfect and everything is efficient. But then you got Jigglypuff, who basically says, fuck your 20XX. I'm a floating balloon with a highly spammable move, and I rely more on fundamentals and spacing more so than pressing a sequence of buttons quickly and timely enough to operate. So what this does is it creates a discord between these 20XX players and the characters like Jigglypuff or Ice Climbers who don't fit that 20XX bill. After all, as a 20XX player, how could I respect someone who trains less than me, who presses less buttons than me, who doesn't practice ledge dashing and masters hard tech skill like me, who can do less and yet at the same time achieve the same, if not more, than me? There's this terrible, insane sense of entitlement within the 20XX Melee community that if you're not playing similar to Mango's Falco or Leffen's Fox or S2J's Falcon, that you are just less than, and equivocally, you are not the true Melee. Hence, why a large population of players believe Hungrybox is killing Melee when in fact, he's just shitting on your 20XX meta, proving that you don't have to be a tech skill demon who will develop arthritis and carpal tunnel by the time they're 12 to be effective at this game. Mind you, this game has been out for more than 10 years, okay? The 20XX meta and era has not always been the way that people play the game, okay? At one point in time, people thought that Marth was the best character in the game. People thought that Sheik was the best character in the game. This game has developed and evolved in a way that does not make this game fall into one single category. So for you to just be like, okay, but I feel like Hungrybox is killing my game. Like, no, bitch, this isn't your game, okay? This is Melee. Melee does not belong to anybody. It is whatever it is going to be based on the people who are playing at that point in time. Second is that you've got top players who practically push the 20XX agenda while shaming Hungrybox and or, you know, like Ice Climber mains, Jigglypuff mains. Again, I won't name any names. It's still Leffen. But the issue here is that the community emulates the thoughts of top players. There's a completely huge monkey see, monkey do system going on out there. Hence why I use the term brainwash, because Melee culture is one that is picked up by watching personalities. Hence why the Smash documentary was even able to exist. If top players aren't actively shitting on anti-20XX playstyles like wobbling or Jigglypuff mains, then you normally have top players who are passively supporting it either through absolute silence or even just liking the tweets without verbally making a stance. The third thing that's going on is that it's just very easy to make Hungrybox a target. First of all, he's the best player in the game, so that just, you know, he's there already. Number two, he's not a saint. He's more of a heel of the community and isn't exactly known for his charming personality. And number three, he uses a character that is severely underrepresented, you know, so he doesn't really have a lot of homies around him. TLDR, he's alone, and people enjoy picking at the loner because there's no fear of repercussion or clapback. You can go to any local Melee Discord and say, I hate Hungrybox, or I hate Jigglypuff, and there will be overwhelming support for it. And last but not least, and this is just my personal theory, so if you guys are curious, continue to listen on. I feel like there's a very effective way of beating Hungrybox, but top players are just way too prideful to invest in it. So one of HBox's strategies is not to play friendlies with other top players, so they don't really acquire any good data and experience to download them, which makes sense. Like it's a competition. Why would I give you the tools to learn how to beat me for free? I don't know if this is true or not, but I believe there was a time where Hungrybox tried to get like all Jigglypuff players to not offer practice to the other top players, which is fucking hilarious if true, but that just shows the length that this guy is willing to go to protect his assets, which I don't entirely blame him. The fact that there aren't any Jigglypuffs anywhere near his level is what keeps him consistently at the top of the game. It's his reward for sticking with his own novelty character and ignoring the meta of other characters becoming good and being the best, and, you know, pushing the meta just like any other fighting game. So essentially, it becomes easier to beat Hungrybox if there were more players who use Jigglypuff at a high level similar to Hungryboxes. In any other fighting game, what then occurs here is that the top players all begin to pick up Jigglypuff because she's a potentially top tier character, which then opens up the metagame for players to learn how to play as her and against her. This isn't anything new, guys. This is just fighting game 101, except there are no patches this time around for that character to get nerfed to the ground. But nah, not in Melee. And that's because Melee players are concerned about their image as a player and as a community. Since Jigglypuff is seen as like the toxic of Melee, top players wouldn't dare tarnish their reputation or image by using her. And when I say top players, I mean most top players. Like, I mean, obviously there are players like Mewtwo King who has touched every single top tier character in this game. He just doesn't really give a fuck, so, you know, that's why he's my favorite player anyway. But also because top players profit off Melee being entertaining to their audience. So using Jigglypuff competitively, which is seen as a boring, unentertaining character in their minds, may damage how people view the game and decrease viewership or popularity, and TLDR will fuck with their current income. Melee is actually one of the only fighting game communities I know where top players aren't even playing to win anymore. They're just trying to sustain what they already have. The fear of the meta turning into a floaty meta with Jigglypuff dittos is so frightening that they'd rather just say fuck it and remain comfortable in their top 10 or 20 placement than to risk any kind of real change. As long as things remain as they are, as long as people follow the script and put on the show that the audience wants to see, then Melee will live forever. And that's why people hate Hungrybox, because every script needs a bad guy for people to root against. And if everybody played like Hungrybox or steered away from the 20XX meta, there's a chance that the game will become less fun to watch and Melee will die. Keyword chance. I really don't blame anyone in this scenario. Everyone is looking out for themselves in the long run. Everyone has an agenda, which is basically self-preservation. It is what it is. But what most likely happen is that everyone will continue as, with the top players remaining comfortable as top players and figureheads within the community. Mango will eventually retire soon and be a full-time variety personality streamer because he's built up his personality high enough that he can just play any game. Like, he's just Mango now. Newer players like Zain will rise up and try to push the 20XX meta further to beat HBox, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Hungrybox will more than likely stay and remain comfortable at the top for as long as he wants, as long as the community remains stubborn enough to not touch Jigglypuff because they hate how she plays or she just isn't cool. That's just my theory anyway. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode of Lay It Omni. You've just been laid. What do you guys think, okay? What's on your mind? Do you agree or do you disagree? And then if so, why or why not? Personally, I understand why people might not like watching Jigglypuff in matches. It's probably the same way I feel about watching Smash 4. I don't think anyone who feels this way is wrong. You're entitled to to being bored if you see a Jigglypuff on the screen. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. At the same time, pushing all your frustration and anger and focusing it on Hungrybox or Jigglypuff mains or Icy mains or on wobbling, it's childish as fuck, okay? And if you truly want to save whatever version of this game you want to uphold, then stop being a salty scrub lord and get good, even if that means using a method you're not particularly fond of temporarily. Or no, I don't really care either way. It's your life. I'm not your dad. I have a lot more that I kind of want to say on this subject that I'm just going to pass on just because I feel like it's basically pointless and senseless to debate with certain members of the community because they're just so freaking hard-headed, yo. Like I've talked to so many people since I've been playing Melee for the past like year and a half now on NetPlay, and just try to like pick people's brains and why they just like dislike Hungrybox and what they think of Melee and how much they hate him. And I'm just like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all fools are blind, okay? Like, are y'all not really thinking for yourself? You guys are just literally taking this ideology that everyone is kind of popularizing and then just like enforcing it. You're not even thinking for yourself. You don't even see the level of skill that this man has. You're kind of like completely nullifying what this person has done. Saying things like Hungrybox wouldn't even be as good as he was if Jigglypuff didn't exist. Ignoring the fact that he would have 15 years to play this game using any other character. And even then, that point is just not logical. What the fuck is wrong with y'all, man? I need some help. All right. This is Omni signing out. I love you guys. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah. This is a topic that a lot of people have been bringing up, but I've been kind of dodging it. But now I'm kind of like in the phase right now where I'm just talking about all the things regardless of how controversial it is because it's just what I feel like doing. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys on the next episode. I love y'all. Have an awesome day.